Most people think American history began with ships, explorers, and a single date. The truth is far older. For nearly 30,000 years, this land held civilizations, cities, giants, trade networks, farmers, astronomers, and engineers long before a single page of written history existed. This is the America almost no one knows.
The story of the Americas is one of the longest human stories on Earth. People crossed frozen oceans. Families survived impossible winters. Whole nations rose and fell without leaving a single written sentence. Yet they shaped landscapes, built monuments, mastered stars, grew crops that fed the planet, and lived through one of the greatest population tragedies in human history. This documentary will take you through 30,000 years of forgotten history, one continent with a story deeper than anything taught in school. We start at the beginning, a beginning written not on paper, but in ice.
Entering a new world. 30,000 years ago, the world was frozen. Ice covered northern lands in sheets thousands of feet thick. The ocean was locked in cold. Sea levels dropped so low that a giant stretch of land appeared between Siberia and Alaska. This was Beringia, a world of grass, wind, and frozen rivers. A world filled with mammoths, wild horses, and packs of predators. Into this land came early humans, small family groups, hunter bands, communities carrying simple tools and deep courage. They crossed slowly, not in one generation, but in hundreds. They followed animals, seasons, and opportunity. They did not know they were entering a new continent. They were simply moving forward, step by step, as humans have always done. By the time the ice began to melt, humans had traveled from Alaska through Canada, into the Great Plains, and down toward the forests of the South. A new world had opened.
The land of Ice Age giants. Imagine the Americas before humans dominated it. Forests untouched, plains filled with enormous creatures. This land had more giant species than Africa has today. Mammoths grazed in herds. Giant sloths stood as tall as houses. Saber-toothed cats stalked the plains. Dire wolves hunted in groups. Short-faced bears towered over anything they chased. Early humans entered this world as newcomers. They were not the top predators. They were vulnerable. A single mistake meant becoming prey. These ancient people learned quickly. They studied animal tracks. They worked together. They shaped stone into sharp blades, spears, and knives. Some hunted mammoths in groups. Some fished the coasts. Some scavenged from giant kills left by predators. These giants shaped the first American cultures. They provided food, tools, clothing, and shelter. When the climate warmed, many giant species disappeared. Human hunting increased. Forests changed. The world shifted, and humans took a larger role. The age of giants ended. The age of human dominance.
Ancient footprints across a continent. As the climate warmed, forests spread, grasslands shifted, new animals appeared. Humans adapted again. Archaeologists find traces of these early people everywhere. Stone spear points buried under rivers, carved bones shaped into tools, simple pottery fragments, fire pits blackened by ancient meals, caves filled with artwork older than any written language. These clues tell us something important. Ancient America was not empty. It was full of communities. People built shelters near rivers. They moved with the seasons.
They created spiritual traditions. They honored ancestors. They buried their dead with care. Over thousands of years, thousands of cultures rose and blended. They developed languages, symbols, and rituals that shaped their identities. Their names are mostly lost, but their presence is everywhere.
The first indigenous scientists. Before cities and monuments, there were thinkers. Early Americans studied the land with precision. They learned which plants healed and which harmed. They tracked animal behavior. They knew seasonal patterns. They predicted storms by cloud movement. They watched the stars and followed them across the sky. Knowledge passed from elders to children. Entire communities relied on shared memory. This was not written science. It was lived science. People mastered fire. They developed tools for fishing, digging, grinding, cutting, and sewing. They learned to store food for winter. They developed early forms of navigation. This scientific foundation allowed something extraordinary to happen: agriculture.
The farming revolution. Around 10,000 years ago, indigenous peoples of the Americas did something remarkable. They began to farm. They domesticated plants that would feed the future world. Corn, beans, squash, potatoes, tomatoes, chili peppers, sunflowers. Corn alone changed the continent. It started as a small wild grass. Farmers shaped it into the powerful crop we know today. Farming created food surplus. Food surplus created free time. Free time created specialization. Communities grew. Villages formed. Trade intensified. Art developed. Ceremonies expanded. The first foundations of civilization took shape.
The first American cities. With farming came population growth. With population growth came cities. In North America, ancient people built monumental earthworks. These were not accidental piles of dirt. They were constructed with design and purpose. Circular mounds, temple platforms, burial sites, geometric patterns visible only from above. Places like Poverty Point, Watson Break, and Serpent Mound show incredible engineering skill. Over time, the greatest of these cities rose: Cahokia. 1,000 years ago, Cahokia was a metropolis. Tens of thousands lived there. Its central mound was larger than the base of the Great Pyramid. Markets were full of goods from across the continent. Ceremonies drew thousands together. Leaders lived in elevated positions. Astronomical wood circles tracked the sun. Cahokia was a superpower of its time.
The Southwest architects. Far to the southwest, another civilization took shape. The ancestral Puebloans built stone cities inside cliffs. Cliff Palace at Mesa Verde, Chaco Canyon, Canyon de Shelly. These places had multi-story buildings, towers, storage rooms, and kivas for ceremonies. Roads connected distant settlements. Astronomical alignments guided their architecture. This region held a world of culture, trade, and ceremony that lasted centuries. Some structures still stand because they were built with skill and intention. These were not simple communities. They were architects of stone and sky. the great civilizations of the South. While North America built mound cities and cliff palaces, Central and South America created giant empires. The Maya charted stars with precision. They built stone cities rising from the rainforest. They developed writing, mathematics, and calendars more accurate than Europe's. The Olmecs carved giant heads from stone blocks weighing tons. They built urban centers and developed early forms of writing. The Aztecs engineered a floating island city. Tenochtitlan held more people than London at the time. It had markets, temples, canals, gardens, and a complex social system. The Inca united millions across mountains. They built roads longer than the Roman network. They constructed stone cities without mortar that still stand today. They engineered farming terraces that fed entire populations. These were advanced societies. Their achievements stand among the greatest on Earth. The Great Collapse before contact. By the 1400s, the Americas were full of life. Millions of people, hundreds of languages, nations with history older than Rome. Then, something invisible arrived. Diseases spread across the land before Europeans reached most communities. Smallpox, influenza, measles, typhus. Entire cities emptied. Villages vanished. Elders who carried knowledge died without passing it on. Some regions lost 90% of their population. A collapse unlike anything the world had ever seen. This tragedy erased stories, languages, and traditions built over thousands.
Survival and legacy. Even after disaster, indigenous cultures endured. Communities rebuilt. Stories survived through memory. Languages lived on. Spiritual traditions continued. Knowledge of plants, seasons, and stars remained alive. Modern native nations are the living descendants of the first Americans. Their heritage stretches back tens of thousands of years. They carry the memory of a continent that held civilizations long before history books began. America's true story does not begin with a ship or a date. It begins with humans crossing ice. It continues with giants, hunters, farmers, astronomers, engineers, and city builders. It is a story older, deeper, and far more powerful than most people ever learn. This is America before America.